We're live.
Hey, bud.
Hey, partner. Is it just me and you? We've had some late exits in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, a bit of a skeleton crew right now.
We had 4 as of 4 minutes ago.
Yeah, they'll be back.
They'll be back.
One will be back.
One will be back. Okay. I'm gonna try to find our precious live. Oh, found it.
You doing Discord sharesies?
I'm about to. Ooh,
Add everyone.
who is first? J-Rock, just right in there.
Respect.
Respect.
He's number one on the leaderboard right now.
Yeah, he dominates the leaderboard.
Let me
At everyone.
give it a like while we're
Yeah, give it a like.
setting up.
People in the Discord saying waiting. All right, let me.
First like. I should get points for that. What's up, J-Rock? First one in.
What do you have to say for yourself?
Mashing F5. He's takes after Knickerbonny.
Yeah, I'm a big F5er. Okay, we got a stream. We have links shared. We have a title, and we have a podcast of 2 members.
Did you tell Alan Bryce what to do with the title and the thumb? He
No.
asked.
Oh, sorry, Bryce. I guess we can't have a thumbnail if we don't have a title. Well, we're gonna figure it out as we go, Bryce, and we're good. Okay, let's see. Well, I'm partaking today. I'm having a
Dude, welcome back.
cerveza.
Welcome back.
It's too hot in here to not have a cold beer.
Yeah, it's almost like
So-
we're on vacation, like at the equator.
Yeah.
Well, cheers. I'm drinking.
Cheers.
I'm drinking like a really sort of like MVP version of an old fashioned.
Looks a little watered down. Looks like a ginger ale.
Yeah, I was getting critiqued about the clarity of this drink.
For, boys in the office were not impressed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's pay the bills real quick. Go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Use the code alfalfa at checkout, and you get 15% off the pre-alcohol, which we took before starting this podcast. As a reminder, it's a genetically engineered probiotic that takes care of that nasty toxin,
Acetaldehyde.
acetaldehyde. That's what wreaks havoc on you in the morning when you're feeling like shit and you regret all those decisions you made the night before. It helps take care of that in your gut. And make sure you can still work out in the morning, go to work in the morning if you need to, get all the things you need to get done to be productive. Eric's been to the gym 2 days in a row, so this guarantees he will not miss his 3rd day in a row.
Don't call it a comeback, folks.
Yeah, and we'll be here in the office tomorrow, bright and bush-tailed. Check it out. Get the pre-alcohol. Use the code alfalfa at checkout. Gets you 15% off. And if you don't like it, doesn't work for you, for whatever reason, they'll give you your money back. But a lot of big fans of ZBiotics listening to the pod right now, as we are. So thanks, ZBiotics, for sponsoring.
We got to stock up for Alfalfa Palooza.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right around the corner.
Yeah. I wonder how many. I've never tried to max out the number of units on the discount code.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to.
Well, people should buy their own too.
We're gonna buy your own. Okay. Let's see here. Well, we have a slightly new studio set up. It's a rearrangement. I like it.
Yeah, hold on. Can people see what's going on here? Because I don't know if you guys can tell because the cameras are so much closer, but we have like a bit of a semicircle formation with some new warm lighting behind us.
Okay.
Can you guys see that?
We have people pumped. People are excited for Pod Day. There's a wellness channel shout out in the Discord, I guess.
Oh, yeah. My inspo.
Oh, really? That was your inspiration for going to the gym?
First day in the gym in 2025 was 2 days ago.
Okay.
Yesterday.
All right.
And then second day in the gym was today.
Buys and tries?
Every time.
Are you kind of a cardio guy, or are you like, hey, I'm going to lift weights?
I like to do both, but I'm also a guy who likes to get everything done in like 35, 45 minutes.
Are you ready for the onslaught of here's what you should do now that you're announcing you're back in the gym?
Oh, man.
Because you're going to get, well, here's what you need to do.
Well, I'm pretty good at like knowing myself, what I need is consistency. I just need to be in there.
Just
If
show
I'm-
up.
Yeah, if I'm in there, everything's good.
All right. Well, I'm excited for you. Congratulations. All right. We see they've got some ZBiotics monthly subscribers in here.
Respect.
Okay, respect. All right, guys, let's get into it. So,
Wait, so none of these guys in the live chat, I think, are coming to Alfalfa Palooza. That's a shame. But
we capped out. Capped out on Alfalfa Palooza, right?
no, we kept out for the dinner.
Oh.
The dinner was limited to 20
which
people.
Matt, if you're listening, I will RSVP soon.
That's so
Sorry,
crazy
you
that
just brought
you
it up.
actually read that in the Discord, but you don't say anything.
He didn't. Steven texted me saying,
Oh.
"Hey, Matt is asking you."
I see.
So I will respond. I'll connect with the wifey and see what's the plan. But yeah, I'm excited for everyone to come to San Diego and have some fun together.
We're gonna get on a catamaran.
Are we?
Yeah,
Ooh.
Saturday.
Do you know which one it's called?
I don't know the name, but it's like a 45-person catamaran.
I think I know that one.
Okay.
It's a good time.
I'm
Good time.
excited.
Yeah. All right, bud. Anything in the markets interesting you recently before we get into the topics?
Oh man, I've been learning a lot.
Okay.
Honestly, like the last few days, I felt like I was like in school again or something. I was like really digging in to understanding volatility, like just more about like this options game that I play.
Mm-hmm.
But like I really am at a place now where I even understand what Chem Carson is saying when he does those like emoji tweets and everything.
Like you talk about dealer flow, like or
Yeah.
just flows in general in
Yeah,
relation
like
to options.
understanding how their positioning is normally and understanding how that can affect market prices like in under normal circumstances. So I feel good about that.
Do you want to talk about it a bit now, or do you want to wait until we talk about risk off?
Yeah, I do think it comes into play for that.
It's one of the major reasons we're talking about this. Okay,
yeah.
so we'll talk about that in a second. But I did want to share something about you and I have actually talked about before. And people are aware of obviously the trend of ChatGPT, and we've had this hunch that like, hey, Google searches are going to decline. Like I noticed in my own personal usage, I use Google less. I use
Do you
GPT
use
more.
Google at all?
I still do.
I still do too.
I don't know what
But
for.
yeah, I don't know. I haven't identified when I would use it.
It's funny because I find myself using it in different use cases, even though I use it less. So like I'll talk to it like ChatGPT sometimes just because it's quicker to get to in a split second. Like I might have
Okay, yeah. So I noticed too that sometimes it doesn't give me the AI
mode.
like when I'm trying to talk to it like ChatGPT, and that's frustrating.
Yeah, I
It's not
actually
every
used it
time.
today, the AI mode, because I was trying to double check ChatGPT's work for like a contract. And yeah, it was good. Just have another opinion. You know, my board of advisors,
Do you
digital
feel-
advisors.
Do you feel like that's giving you like a false sense of confidence because it's actually
Totally.
drawing upon the same data, probably?
Our third co-host is calling. Yes, Steven. Okay.
I wish you was on
All
speaker.
right. He says, Nick, I can't get into the building.
Oh, so we got to go let him in.
How do we solve this? Can we maybe dispatch someone? I'll do that.
Steven's locked outside. Okay, so the story is Steven was ready to record. Is the camera on me? Steven was ready to record. He was sitting here. It was 5 p.m., which is like right when we were recording, and he forgot that he left his house locked when his housekeeper was coming to clean his house and had to go rush back home.
Yes, my staff was showing up, and
By the way, he's done this
my
like
palace was locked.
he's done this every week for like a year.
All right, so we'll shortly have a third co-host. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about was potentially shorting all public publishing companies. So these are
Okay, so what are publishing companies are what? Like,
think about like old school magazine companies that just turn into websites, and those websites, the main way they make money is off ads and affiliate partnerships, but their main traffic source is Google. So when you're typing in, best lipstick of 2025 or whatever it may be, that's their main traffic source. And what threw me a curveball was recently Google came out and said that their search volume has actually increased, which was odd. And I thought of it, put it in two buckets. One was similar to me. People found a new use case and started using it more because they were like, oh, I can talk to it like
Okay.
ChatGPT.
And each query is counted as a search or something like that.
Yeah, and that works. But then I found an article that someone linked to on Twitter. I didn't bookmark it. I wish I did. But he was basically positing that like every ChatGPT search potentially results in like 30 Google searches, because when ChatGPT goes to the web and does research, which I assumed it used Bing because, well, they have this Microsoft partnership, but maybe those result in Google searches, and maybe Google's slight increase in searches was because of just call it any AI use, like
Yeah,
whether it's
right,
like Claude or whatever.
Okay, so help me understand this. If like the robots are searching Google, Google's not going to be able to monetize that
No,
in the way that they normally would.
no, and like, you know, maybe the bot sees ads, but in reality, it's not going to really get ads because the market will adjust. Like we're an ad buyer in their market, and like you would immediately notice this type of traffic is producing zero ROI, so you discard it, right? So that's possible to do.
I mean, is there any realm of possibility that like organic search traffic is just going higher?
Potentially, because from their quarterly earnings, it said search volumes going up. But let's just assume that that's not necessarily the case, and it's not going to be the case for the next like 5 years. So these publishers, I have some tickers in here that I can share first. So like one is a ticker ZD. I think it's Ziff Davis. They own CNET, ZDNet, and a few other publications. Again, they get all their traffic from organic search.
I remember CNET. That's
Yeah,
like
it's still around. It's still
software,
massive,
hardware thing.
massive business. It used to be owned by like CBS Interactive.
Okay.
But anyway,
So these are like pure play publishers.
I tried to find only pure plays because there are other ones like IAC, which owns like dating apps, other web apps and companies. They also own a fuck ton of publishing companies that are going to suffer. But another one is FUTR, Future. They own Marie Claire and Tech Radar. Those are like pure examples. They totally rely on organic search rankings. Like their business driver is search engine optimization. And I imagine they're just pivoting to like optimizing for LLM results.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, I don't want to get too far ahead. I want to hear more of these tickers. If you have any more.
Those are the two main ones. There's another one called
Wait, sorry. What are we talking about?
Ticker GCI. We're talking about publicly traded companies that their main business is online publishing. They just publish content and they get traffic from Google search and they monetize with ads. And so the idea is that as ChatGPT, I mean, this is like a thesis that has been around for the last 2 years since ChatGPT came out. And I've been seeing some of these stock prices go down, but like it could still, there's still meat on the bone, I feel like.
Yeah, this is like a very first order consequence, you'd feel like.
Yeah, and I think it had a break because Google mentioned in their quarterly earnings that their searches are actually going up. So people will like, oh, maybe we shouldn't freak out. But what people have also noticed, and there's like a good state of SEO, search engine optimization, on a website called detailed.com. The guy who runs it is like a expert, would definitely rely on his data. And in some of this data, they found that that when there's an AI snippet, the CTR the click-through rate on the organic rankings decreases by 50%. So even if people are doing searches, less of those people who search are going to be clicking to Marie Claire and Tech Radar because they kind of got their answer.
Okay, because when you go to a website, there's an AI summary of the page that you're about to navigate anyways.
Yeah, and so you just your answer is solved right there. You don't need to click the 10 blue links to like hunt for your answer when Google's AI just gave you the answer.
Okay, this thesis sounds like too
easy, right?
Easy and obvious. And
okay, well the next part where you could debunk this is we noticed in some of our websites, I think in June, I sent a screenshot to this team because we had our first sales and the source in our analytics said ChatGPT. And we were like,
source of the sale.
It was the source of the traffic, which resulted in a sale. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And we were kind of joking, like, so it begins. Like, this is how it'll start.
You
and
should
then
frame that.
Wait, so hold on. So I was under the assumption that you can't actually do any purchasing through your like LLM usage.
You can't. But what's funny, and towards Stephen's point, why this thesis may not be so easy is because the same like ranking algorithm that Google figures out on what 10 blue links to show you is also what ChatGPT figures out what is knowledgeable enough, what is authoritative enough to figure out the answer on. So they're going to look at reputation of the content. And one way to figure that out is like, well, does it show up in search results? If it shows up first in search results, like, I don't know if you guys noticed when you search something when it's thinking, it'll show you its like steps, and it shows you its search queries and what it looks for. So this may just translate into chat GPT traffic or any LLM traffic, but albeit at a much, like, maybe 5% of that traffic actually ends up on those websites when it's filtered through an LLM that just gives you the answer. So that's an argument against this, but I still think they're going to see
I feel
way
like I
less
could make
traffic.
an even stronger argument against this.
Yeah, because they're not going to be clicking those. I mean, very rarely do I go to click the source and see where I got it from. And
I'd be more interested in like a long thesis than a short thesis.
What do you think they've been?
The short
they've been so
thesis
beaten
is
down?
obviously consensus. Like anybody
Right.
with like 3 brain cells to rub together can think through that, and obviously people have thought through that. And I also feel like a lot of these companies were probably already written off for dead anyway before ChatGPT, because like I looked at a couple of the stocks you sent me, and like they weren't great charts.
no, they're not.
Before that, so they've been perpetually terrible. So I want, like, we still need the content, right? Because like one of the greatest demands in the world right now is the demand for new training data.
Yeah, but they already
right?
got it for free.
Right, but
Like,
that's not all the content that has ever existed.
Well, could they pivot?
So the existing data that is there, the existing stuff, the traffic that it's you could say that, I don't know what royalties are paid by ChatGPT to these publishers right now, but you could say that maybe in the future they do start paying royalties or start paying more royalties. You could then say that because the information is being filtered through this like high trust third party, the AI, like the actual like clicks per se on the website are just orders of magnitude more valuable, right?
okay, so for a business model like ours, e-commerce, incredibly valuable, right? Because if ChatGPT recommends a product, the conversion rate is going to be massive. But when you look at a business model like online publishers, where they just need eyeballs, they literally get paid per 1,000 views.
Yes, and those 1,000 views that they get paid for are fucking worthless, right? You know, like the metrics.
Of course,
they're
and I think they're still
worthless.
going to be worthless because they're interested in the content, not necessarily the ads that are being shown around that content. It doesn't necessarily increase the conversion rate for the advertiser on that Marie Claire's article.
Right, but if that content is more valuable to the LLM than it is to the generalized spam advertisement internet, then like you have like a
I think like the amount that ChatGPT or any LLM or any AI training data would pay is probably like 1/1,000,000th of like the revenue of a visitor to a publishing site. There's no way they're gonna like be on par with how much a single visitor.
What about like advertising online? If like people just go straight to the LLM for their information, what happens there?
Advertising could potentially get even better, right? Because if you're telling Google, who's the main advertising beast in the market, second is Facebook, but if you're chatting with either of those, they know so much about you, and even if you're paying $20 a month, you're still the product. They're gathering that information and using it in advertising. So the next chance you go to a site, you are going to have just
The perfect
pure,
ad.
like, you're going to be like, this thing knows my inner thoughts. I worry about search advertising over the long term. But I think display advertising, video advertising on YouTube, they're still massive.
So we've like had this discussion 1,000 times. Is Google fucked?
Yeah, we have.
Somebody in our, I think it was Max in our Discord today, posted that Google is like, it accounts for like 3% of the S&P 500, but it accounts for something like 6% of the S&P 500's earnings. So I guess like it's people are betting against it.
Yeah. Yeah, based on
Market
share.
cap. Yeah.
Sure.
Do you feel like, based on what you just said, like search advertising?
I don't know. Like, advertising is the moneymaker there, and it delivers all the profits where they can invest in new things. But I tend to think like all these tech conglomerates will just win, right? Like
Yeah.
Amazon is not just e-commerce,
Yeah.
obviously. it's media, it's fucking servers.
Yeah, they just continue to win at like a even more alarming rate because anybody else who starts to win, they just acquire them.
Yeah. So I think like Facebook, the Mag 7 basically, plus maybe a few others, you know, are still going to continue to win. And I think Google will eventually solve the problem. I thought Google was going to take a bigger market cap hit in the last like year, but it didn't necessarily do that. So anyway, that's just a thought. I'm curious what anyone thinks of it. Steven is taking the oppo.
Mr. Contrarian.
Yeah, I mean,
surprising.
I get it though, because it's so obvious that it's funny
I mean,
that it's
I don't know
like,
if I want to put that bet on, but I would be more
Yeah.
interested in searching out like a.
this one kind of falls in like the
Thesis.
mediocre phase. Like I don't feel strong either way.
I like Steven's way of thinking, but sometimes like when the car comes out, like the horse buggy actually does die.
Yeah, it's just like this is obvious. It will die unless they like have some magical innovation. And I think you got to pinpoint it to the pure plays, which are the ones I mentioned, and I don't know how they'll persist. Okay, so anyway, that was the few things in markets I want to talk about. Steven, we saved our main money topic for when you got back. Question is, are we risk off until October? So September is historically the worst month for the stock market if you look back, and there's a few things. So I think if you go back even 100 years, it's still it shows more negative average returns in September than in any other month. There's obviously there's also a volatility spike, which you may allude to earlier, compared to the summer months. So there's some common explanations. There's like tax and fiscal calendar effects. So when mutual funds, ETFs, institutions need to tax loss harvest, they'll tend to do it in September instead of in December to make sure they take those losses for and clean up their portfolios before year-end reporting. If things are already negative, you have like a liquidity surge from the summer come up. So if things are already negative, there's more liquidity in September. People coming back from vacations could accelerate things. There's obviously macro catalyst. There's always a Fed meeting in September after a month off in August. And then obviously the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? When you tend to have years where it's worse, there's like a little investor psychology there. And then the last one I saved was there's a quarterly options expiration, which could have something to do with it.
Favorite.
So
I just want to go to Steven first so that he can be contrarian against all of that.
okay. So yeah, I mean, this comes up every year. I feel like it's like March and September for some reason are the two times where
Those are the two times.
you get a little nervous and you're like, and I'm thinking about it now because like insurance is relatively cheap. Like the VIX is still around 15. It was even cheaper like on Monday, but like, I don't know, insurance is cheap. And so I want to see what your guys' thoughts are. And then I want to talk about if I wanted to purchase some insurance against my S&P 500.
Good.
I want to talk about how would you actually do that? Because I think I've been doing it in a very low IQ way.
Mm-hmm.
So, Steven, what are your thoughts on seasonality coming up?
I think I'm expecting a scary event in September. It's pretty common. I think the question is just like, what is your time horizon, I guess? Because I see a lot of reason to believe that in the interim, whether that's a 1, 2, 3, 4 week period, like you could see like some pretty substantial fireworks. The market's a little weird right now. One of the most bearish
fireworks meaning volatility?
just like a lot of gains.
Like
to the
upward,
upside.
upward.
Yeah.
Cool.
But like it's weird. I mean, one of the most bearish looking assets right now is Bitcoin, oddly enough. So in crypto land, Ethereum obviously looks much better than Bitcoin. I mean, Ethereum looks pretty good here,
It's
honestly.
ETH season, baby.
And like stuff like Solana looks better than ETH, and in TradFi land, Bitcoin looks bad. Well, I guess that's kind of both, but like the Russell looks better than ES.
That's
Okay.
good for ETH.
Yeah, like I'm long the Russell right now. I'm long ETH right now. I mean, I think those two things are correlated. I'm flat Bitcoin right now, and I'm sort of like levered long Russell, levered long ETH, and then I have my just generic kind of Nasdaq S&P exposure. Makes very little sense to be long Bitcoin when Bitcoin's like not outperforming the S&P.
You're also talking in shorter time frames, right? Like you think in weeks, not
Well,
months or years.
I mean, I'll be honest, dude. I've been following along with Magic Lines, and this guy thinks in minutes. Like, there's a lot
It's
of
like
flip flopping.
I'm following the 15
He's
minute
short.
chart.
He was short like
I was
72 hours ago.
Yeah, I was short ETH yesterday morning, and that was a good trade. And then I flipped long last night, and that was a good trade. But like the Bitcoin trade in particular is kind of interesting. It's hard for me to get excited about Bitcoin here. We've seen Saylor kind of like looking shaky for the first time,
Right.
Because for those who aren't aware of what's been happening, I mean, he sort of put out this thing that said MSTR or strategy, is not going to issue new shares.
They're not going to hit the ATM.
They're not going to hit the ATM until the NAV multiple is like above 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like the market
That's
didn't like
hefty.
that too much because it's kind of addicted to Michael buying all of the Bitcoin. And then like 2 days ago or yesterday, I think it was yesterday actually, he's just like, actually maybe we will do that. And then
Oh shit! I didn't even see that.
yeah, and then we had a little rally in Bitcoin, but I think it was kind of short lived. We ended up
I
continuing.
mean, he
to jump.
had to have known that. Like his whole game is reflexivity. So when you even give reflexivity downside an inch, it's gonna go a mile. So yeah, it was surprising.
Yeah, it was not a good look, and it just sort of like begs the question, like, why do you want to own this on a particular time horizon? Like, if your time horizon is many years, I still think it's like a very, very good trade. If your time horizon is shorter, it's just like less desirable. Like, because if your thesis for owning Bitcoin in the short run is like, LOL, they're gonna print money and do all this stuff, there's like better stuff to own.
Right.
I think this like I haven't studied this, but I'm just like wondering. I've noticed that MSTR in particular has like brief periods of wild outperformance and then like long periods of just being kind of flat or underperforming. And I'm wondering if that same dynamic is going to be applicable to like the ETH treasury companies. It kind of reminds me of like altcoin season in crypto land. Like you get like these short periods of like massive spikes, but it's not like the thing that you want to hold.
Yeah, it's like it's similar. It's kind of more complicated though in a way, and I think there's also like an interesting sort of dichotomy in the difference between like the ETH treasury companies versus the Bitcoin treasury companies because well, the Bitcoin treasury companies, it's basically just Saylor, right? And Saylor,
I mean, I think there's like 100 Bitcoin treasury companies now.
yeah, but they're just fucking nonsense.
Yeah,
other
they're not
than-
like in terms of like
other than
dollars.
scale.
they're
MSTR. It
nothing.
just doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right? It especially doesn't matter relative to the market cap of Bitcoin. So, I mean, MSTR looks fucking cooked here, right? I think if you own MSTR in the short run, I just feel like you're in for a bunch of fucking pain. It's hard for me to see how MSTR outperforms Bitcoin,
I was just going to
especially on
mention
like a
the
risk-adjusted
MSTR to
basis.
Bitcoin chart doesn't look great.
No, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
It looks terrible, and MSTR continues to be like actually like a pretty good like early leading indicator of Bitcoin underperformance or outperformance because it sort of led the move up and it also led the move down recently. So interesting to watch the crypto stocks.
It's still the best IV stock in the entire market. So
Like if you want to sell calls, you still like that thing.
calls and puts, I sell both sides, and they're so juicy. And this thing doesn't really move to the degree that like people are expecting it to. I mean, the game that I play is implied volatility against realized, and the realized vol is always lower.
You're playing the, if I try to translate that, you're playing like an income game off selling those calls and puts. You don't care about the movement of the
dude,
actual.
MSTR volatility will send many children to college, including my own.
What's your, do you know your, off the top of your head, your annual return off selling puts and
Off
calls?
MSTR?
Yeah, MSTR.
I think it's like 80% if it's like covered, but I use a lot of margin, so it's like
Okay.
well into the triple digits.
Oh boy. All right. What about just general stocks? Because like that's really where this data comes from. Is like stocks in general kind of tend to not perform in September.
I mean, it may or may not be true. It's probably true. It's not a look. I think for most people listening to this, like if you're thinking about September, you're kind of thinking like a trader because you're thinking about like a month, and you're probably not a trader, so you're probably just gonna fuck yourself up. Cool. Honestly. And I think that even if the September sell-off happens, and I think it probably will, like it's going to sucker you into buying stuff right before it dumps, because otherwise it's not going to be able to dump because it's like not going to be right. Like this is just kind of how it works. So
Hedge markets like, don't crash.
September 28th, like, oh, there's no dump. I better capitulate long and then like it just dumps October 1 or something, right? So I don't know how useful that is as a metric and timing that.
I mean, if you look at 2022, 2023, October marked the lows of both like the big 22 down, and then there was like a little capitulation in 2023. And anyway, that's why I just brought it up. But I want to hear your options thing, and then I want to ask about, okay, I'm not a trader, but I like buying insurance sometimes, and we could talk about that next.
Okay, so I liked your preamble a lot because that I told you I've been like learning a lot about this volatility surface and understanding like what market makers and dealers are doing in their normal day-to-day operations. And
dealers are the people who are essentially like when you go to Schwab and make a trade, there's a dealer or a market maker on the other end of that. It's not like another one of you on the other side.
This is a great point because like I trade options all day, and like when I first started trading options, I was like thinking, who's the stupid idiot buying this thing? And it's like the market maker who's setting those prices always. It's not like a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually can tell when it is a guy.
Oh, you can?
Because you see you can see a spike in the vol surface. Like it's supposed to be like a smooth curve, and then sometimes you see like a weird, like peak, and that's not what a market maker would ever do. So those are always interesting to me. But I like what you said in the preamble because what I've come to realize is that these quarterly options expirations become very important because there's so much volume on those options. It's like I trade the weeklies, so I don't care about the quarterly, but I make so much more money on the quarterly just because I get way more opportunities. There's like way more participants on the quarterly. And that means that the dealers are more short on the quarterlies.
Yeah, you want to explain that, just the basics a little bit?
Okay, so like I think the main trade in like dealer land is that they are short puts. Okay, and what I want to describe is that like most people are buying protection against their portfolio. That's
right.
like the main options trade.
As an individual, I'm buying puts because I want to protect against my portfolios. Yeah. What I was talking about. So on the other side of that, I'm long a put. On the other side of that, there's a dealer who's short a put.
Yeah, I think
because it has to balance out.
It has to balance out. Yeah. So the dealer is short put, and what that ends up being, like, to get kind of into the weeds, they're short gamma, they're short vega, they're short volatility, and that's like a little too much to know. But what you do need to know is that like what that results in is that it adds fuel to the fire if prices start to go down. So like if like the market goes down by 4 or 5%, dealers hedge that position, their short gamma, their short vol, by shorting more spot. And when the price moves lower because they're short gamma, they have to short more spot at an increasing rate to like maintain their delta hedge. So bottom line is this: if the market goes down by like 5% leading into September, the dealers will push it down like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12%. So like for me now, I don't feel like I need to be really concerned about this like period in September until I see the path. If the path is like we're going lower, then it's going to exacerbate, and then that's when I can short or whatever. I don't think I need to like get ahead of it. I actually took my shorts off.
You just wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
So I just looked it up. The quarterly options expiration is September 19th.
Yeah.
So if like it's September 7th and we're trending down a few percent, you feel good that like it's going to accelerate because of this. The dealers have to like continue shorting as more people buy protection. Is that right?
Yeah, and the people that have already bought protection, like the dealers are going to be like less in profit because their positioning is already sort of negative. So the way to protect it is to short more.
Got it. Okay.
And I think there's a point that I like that you talked about the seasonality. Like the March and the September OPEX are the two most dangerous. And
Yeah, why is that? Do you know why those two in particular?
well, my like very rudimentary understanding of the seasonality is that like the summertime is sort of just like lower volume. It's like people are on vacation, people are like not trading as much. And then the December one is actually like positive flows usually. It's like if in a normal circumstance, the market's going higher, you know, that's like 80% of the time, market's up. There's positive flows to come in and say like, yeah, I want to like window dress, or they call it the re-leveraging.
Right.
So December's good, June fine, and then it's the March and September you want to worry about.
Yeah, it's interesting when you listen to some of Cem Carson's like shorter videos, 'cause he has some pretty long interviews, but like he mentions this isn't just like investor psychology. It actually happens to do with like in December there's less trading days because there's holidays. So like all the buying happens in a more concentrated way. There's re-leveraging, there's repositioning of portfolios, and it actually you could break it down to like the logistics of money moving around in the market. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so then the question still remains. I have my biggest portfolio in like equity, U.S. equities. I don't trade it at all. Like even if things, I just keep that thing forever and ever. But I do have my little trading portfolio, and I like to buy protection against it. I'm wrong most of the time, but the way I've been doing it historically, I think, is pretty dumb. And I think I've learned from you and your Magic Lines trades, and you can tell me if I'm right. So like I want to protect against my S&P 500, so I'll short puts on the, or buy puts on the SPY. But that seems like pretty dumb. It seems smart to do it when the VIX is low, because it seems like cheap insurance. Like right now, I think it's relatively cheap to buy insurance in case the market goes down. But like what I've seen you do in the crypto world is like, let's say you have like you're long Bitcoin and ETH, you'll take some shitty coin, like some, you know, thing that's worthless, and short that, and that'll be your hedge against your Bitcoin ETH. When you want to buy protection against Bitcoin ETH, you don't then take a highly leveraged position and with a couple percent of your portfolio and short it, right? So do you want to walk through why you do that? And should I then take that knowledge and just maybe go short NVIDIA and Palantir? Those are, NVIDIA is like a big chunk of the S&P 500. If that falls, maybe a lot of other dominoes fall. So should that be my insurance instead of the SPY?
I don't always trade that way because, like, right now I'm short Bitcoin. But the reason I'm short, like, I'm short Bitcoin in sort of like a more macro sense, and I'm over a longer time period, and then I'm also short Bitcoin, knowing that I am like kind of balls longing like the fart coin and Ethereum and shit like that. So it's not like I'm underexposed to the down to the upside. So some nuance there. I don't ever hedge by buying like naked put options.
Okay.
And when people are like vol is cheap, vol is shit, like whenever people say this, it means nothing to me, because like honestly, like if vol is cheap, it's normally cheap for a reason. It's normally cheap because like the market's correct and there just like isn't going to be downside vol, right? And then we go through these periods and it happens and they're like, oh my God, you should have bought that cheap protection. To me, all this stuff is like fucking useless. Like I hedge my TradFi portfolio almost exclusively using index futures. So NQ, ES,
Like shorting it.
RTY, yeah, because you're usually hedging to the downside, right? But I'm hedging based on like price action principles, right? Like if I think the market is sort of topped, you know, in the interim, like there's a level where I know the market is not topped if it trades to that level, and I might, you know, hedge out 20, 30, 50% or maybe even 100 like of my exposure by doing that.
Is there because I'm not like that well versed with futures trading, is there like a leverage benefit for using the futures where you can like
It's
get
massive, right?
more
You
bang
told
for your
me
buck shorting NQ than like shorting
Well,
QQQ?
Yeah. I mean, you get way more leverage.
It's like
with,
25-1, I think.
Yeah, it's way more for sure. And then you're not trading volatility, which is the main problem with options. It's like, oh, I want to short, but you're also like making a bet on what realized volatility ends up being relative to the implied volatility of the options
Right.
contract.
You're not necessarily betting price, you're betting volatility.
I don't know how to do that. So, I mean, you can structure option plays where you are sort of like volatility agnostic, but nobody knows how to do that. Like nobody listening to this podcast is thinking about that. They're just buying puts, and then they're like, "Oh, that went down, and my puts didn't make any money. Why?" And it's just nonsense. I mean, I feel like most times, if people want to hedge, they should just sell stuff for cash, just like raise a little cash. I know that's not like
But
super
it just
sexy.
gets in this tricky thing where like you have your long bag and you know the thing is like I'm just gonna hold this for 30 years and I'm gonna
I mean,
crush everyone else.
I can
because
tell you
just-
like the two ways that options traders do it. One is buy and put protection, and I think your line of questioning was correct, where you could like buy put protection on something that's higher beta instead of buying put protection on SPY.
like buy put protection on Nvidia instead of SPY.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think I would choose Nvidia, but I would choose something like with like way higher beta, or and like maybe the Qs, for instance, is like similar but higher beta.
Okay.
And then like one thing that I'm sort of looking at, just in my like normal options trading stuff, like I do a very good job of like hedging out idiosyncratic risk. But one thing I don't do well is like hedging out the systematic risk,
Macro
like,
stuff.
like what happens if a nuke gets dropped? Like
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get smoked.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to identify. Yeah, I guess like a lot of people would, but I'm trying to identify like what's the best way to implement systematic hedges. And one thing I'm looking at is like puts on TQQQ, which is the levered Q.
triple.
The levered Qs is actually pretty cheap. Like if you go way out of the money, like in a systematic shock, that would actually hit, and that's cheap as fuck.
But like, okay, so I like that. I like that better than what I was doing. But to your point, the when you buy the put options as insurance, you end up betting volatility more than price. But I was thinking like, if you look at the VIX chart and you're like, man, we're at a 2-year low, like it's at 10 or 11 or something. You're like, okay, I don't think anything's gonna happen, but I can buy leaps on these puts and like buy some protection for the next 12 months.
Well, yeah, that's the other way options traders do it is that you buy VIX calls.
Oh, I didn't know about those. Okay.
Yeah, you're betting on volatility spike because volatility spikes when prices drop.
I guess like I don't even know if I want to go into a more advanced land of like playing the futures. I don't even know if I want to just spend the time to learn it and figure it out.
I mean, my advice to everybody out there would be like, don't do this,
Right.
because you're not a trader, so you're just gonna fuck it up.
It's
But
levered
that's why
25-1.
That's why I
as
like
well.
insurance because I can fuck it up and it's like 1% of the portfolio value I'm
I
using
also
to hedge. And
I also
like,
think that like what you're saying is like an important point to mention is that like when you're hedging, like it's better if you lose. Like you're kind of like, you're kind of expecting it to be a leak of value of your portfolio because like you don't really want that.
But
to
like,
hit.
why leak value? Why even leak value?
because like it also I think
It's like buying insurance in life.
behaviorally it keeps the demons contained, at least for me, right? Like I'm like, man,
Dude, like
it's not like buying insurance.
hold on. Like buying insurance in life is a leak of value. Like the insurance company makes more money.
No, it's not a leak of value because in the things you guys and I buy insurance for, when that shit hits, it is catastrophic to your life. Like it actually ruins you. Like if Nick loses 20% even in his stock portfolio in the next month, it actually doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter because it will just go back up and Nick will be fine. And if every time Nick sees this, he hedges 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1% over the next 20 years, he'll still be fine. But when he looks back on it, he'll just see like a lot of like leakage and like all this like hedging, all this hedging, all this hedging.
Also depends how you're positioned.
true.
But if you are positioned in a way, like, look, if you're positioned like me, where your portfolio is levered frequently and you have like 1.5x, 2x, 3x, then yeah, you have to do this because you actually do have catastrophic risk to the downside. Like you actually can lose everything. So if you can lose everything, or you can lose enough, like losing 50% of your portfolio is like similar to losing everything. Like to make that return back, it's just like good luck,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So that's a different scenario. But if that's not you, like if you just have stocks and you think there's going to be like a bloody September, I mean, I want to like discourage people from trading. Like if they truly want to like learn how to do it, and I think it's very useful. Like I do it. It's been like one of the greatest things I've ever learned to do in my life. But like, it's not easy.
No, I agree. I think you bring out about a great point. Is that like for most people, even if there is a pullback in September where like we get 5% initially and then it exacerbates to 12%, like guess what? You hold it through September 19th and then we're gonna get a fucking V
No big deal.
reversal upward. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna be fine.
Or another way to look at this is like, well, why does that sell off happen? Like what happens in the market? Like what is the thing you're worried about? And then the question becomes like, is there just like a different asset you can go long that would be a hedge? Like, is the thing you're worried about going to cause long end rates to go down? Well, if that's the case, maybe just buy TLT calls or something, or TLT, or just buy
No.
TLT or
STRD.
You know,
What's that?
If the long end rates go down, I want the MSTR 10% yielding perpetual preferreds.
Okay.
but it's
Because
not.
they're trading
it's-
at 80%.
But your point still remains, and I think either vehicle is fine. Is like
Yeah.
instead of like planning to play short.
I don't like that play because it has other exposure that has nothing. Right, you're making like multiple plays.
Slightly, but all preferreds basically are interest rate plays.
But like you can always just take a thing that is like a pure play on the thing you're worried about and bet that. And if it's not enough of a return, you could just lever it a little bit, right? Like so I'm always wary these days of like betting things that are a stand-in for this like other thing where I could just buy literally that thing, because I
Yeah.
feel like every time I do that it doesn't work out super well. But
You mentioned that like, oh, if it goes down 12%, we'll just see a V-shaped recovery.
Yeah.
And I've been following this one thing that would like imply that like when would it not be V-shaped recovery, and it doesn't hit yet, but like so I'm not worried about it, but I'm watching to see if I should be worried. And Warren Pies posted he has this metric that like or I guess this thesis that when we see unemployment spike, it usually starts with the housing sector, in particular like construction jobs. And so what he looks at is like housing starts, and when they get to a certain lower level, there's too much labor working in construction for home builders or whatever it may be, and they end up having to cut a lot of workers out in order to normalize for how much housing starts are actually happening. And that is usually what he sees in like the first part of like employment thing, like unemployment increasing. And he said that housing starts have started to go down, and if they remain below 80,000 for like multiple months in a row, you could start to see the first part of like an unemployment increase. And so I follow him on Twitter because he usually,
Warren Pies has great charts and data.
and maybe I'm just like
The
oohed and
algo-
awed
the
by like
algo
the
loves
the
data.
charts. I'm like, wow, this is good. It makes sense in my brain. Feels good. I'll watch this one. But anyway, I'm keeping an eye on it. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could not produce a lot of signal, but
I feel like people just keep an eye on the wrong shit these days. I think everything about modern investing is just either flows based or betting on the denominator increasing. And those are like the only,
flows and liquidity.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the only thing that matters, right? So that's the reason like Ethereum has been so interesting to me for the last couple of months, really, is because it's like
The flows are so obvious.
the flows are so obvious and you have exposure to the denominator just going infinitely up.
Right. It
which-
does share some of that Bitcoin-ness.
Yeah, and like Bitcoin has like lost a lot of its luster on the flows side. I think it's still certainly exposed to the denominator thing, but like Ethereum is a much smaller market cap asset, right? You've got like Tom Lee, he's already acquired 1% of the freaking supply, and like yesterday was one of the more interesting trading days of my career, I think, because I woke up and I was like, this is gonna fucking dump, and shorted everything. But then there was like a funny Tom. Did you see this like Tom Lee tweet in the morning? So Tom Lee posted. Tom Lee is the guy who Fundstrap, but he's also running Bitminer BMNR ticker. And he's stated his goal is to acquire 5% of the Ethereum supply. So kind of matters for the thesis I'm laying out, right? And he posted this tweet or X or whatever you want to call it yesterday. We just showed a screenshot of like his TA guy from Fundstrat internally. It was just like a screenshot of an email. It's just like, I think ETH goes to 40.75 to 150 this week, and it was just a fucking trend line.
Yeah,
and that was the whole thing.
A line trending all the bottoms for like the past like 3 months.
And like everybody on crypto Twitter initially was just like, Jesus Christ, like the guy buying all the ETH is just using like magic lines to do this. And I was like, oh, cool. The guy buying all this ETH is just using magic lines to do this. And then, so I was short, and I was still short coming into the Asia session. And then like Ethereum was like around like 40.60. And I started thinking about this. I'm like, what if he just buys at the fucking level
where the line is?
He was gonna buy at?
It becomes self-fulfilling, right?
So I'm like, first things first, I'm like, I should not be short here. So I closed out all my shorts around like 40.70 or so, and so that was good, right? And then like part of me was like, fuck, I should like this is one of those things where you're like, this is so fucking stupid that like I should definitely do it. Like it can't be that easy. It can't be that stupid. But actually, Tom Lee just did tell you like the level he's just going to bid all the ETH at. So maybe I should just bid that level.
And as of now, it's worked.
So I went to bed and I just sort of like panic market bought a little bit. And then I woke up and I was just like, I looked at the chart and I was like, oh, fuck, this is definitely what's happening right now. So I just kind of just set these like massive, like just limit wall. Cause I was like, New York session, we're going to get a dump. And I'm just going to bid all the Tom Lee levels. And we got the dump and just up only. And I was like, so Tom Lee, just buying that level.
Okay, so
buy the line.
That easy. Just find where the way. He's got $20 billion. There's $20 billion of ETH treasuries.
He's going to do 5x more of what he's already done. Okay, so let me ask you this. You've like bought that level. You went probably heavily levered, knowing your style. Like, are you going to ride that trade to all-time highs, or are you gonna like take this as a win, like, hey, scalped a great one?
Yeah, I mean, I sold more than half of it at the end of the day, but like my goal is to wake up tomorrow and just do it again and just do it again,
and just like set that like as your limit order is like 40.75 essentially.
I think if you want to have like a wide stop loss, which I don't like doing, then yeah, you just buy here and you just sell it 5K, 6K, something, and then you're good. And I think that's like kind of like an easy trade, honestly. I've been thinking about this a lot, and the giver on X wrote a really good post about this, which I thought was like actually pretty insightful. And it's something worth thinking about because this is kind of the thing that's governing everything. Because like Bitcoin and ETH going up is basically what drives all of the other altcoins to go up. And the reason Bitcoin and ETH go up is because like this like institutional capital is just bidding them. So like if you don't understand that, then nothing else in the entire market makes any fucking sense to you, and nothing else even matters, right? So Bitcoin has had like this funny dynamic with Saylor because like he just like acquires money and then immediately top blasts it no matter what the price is, and the market front runs him. They know he's immediately going to top blast it. He just gets all the money and then just buys it all, right? And then he flexes his orange dots on X, and people are just like, bro, like what? On the one hand, I think he's up like 20-something billion dollars now. He made the greatest trade in the history of trades.
Yeah,
on the other hand,
I'll continue to buy the top.
Yeah, he dances afterwards. That's cool. It works.
And like I've always been like, this is not like a good strategy. So it doesn't really work.
It's inefficient. Yeah.
It's inefficient. So the ETH treasury companies, they have like a different reaction function. Like they're not just top blasting, right?
I don't know. I've been following SharpLink. They seem to just blast immediately.
Yeah. I mean, they accidentally did some top blasting the other day for sure. But like, but generally they have demonstrated that they're behaving differently, and the incentives are such that they have a very strong incentive to buy at discounted prices and to sort of defend levels, to defend their
as Tom
NAV.
was defending the line that his analyst
yes
drew.
And also just selling FunStrat TA subscriptions in the process. So kudos, Tom. Just
Oh yeah, there's an
He's just
alternative
doing, like,
incentive
some-
there.
Double whammy.
Yeah.
the entire ETH treasury strategy is just to like self-reinforce the
Subscription
TA.
based.
It's just like, wow, look how good these lines are. Uh, but yeah, so their incentive from like a game theory perspective is definitely to defend their NAV on the bottom end, right? Like they can't have this thing slip like below one, by
But
having
also
price
continue
go
to
down.
buy the top, right? It's like both sides, right?
Well, it's sort of, right. You want to buy the bottom end and defend, right? On the way up, there's sort of no incentive to buy kind of in the middle here. And then when you get to like the top of a level, especially a level where like a lot of people are shorting, like if you think you can engineer like a short squeeze or a gamma squeeze or you know both, you now have a huge incentive to once again smash through that level, because if you can smash through that level and engineer a squeeze and become like a fulfilling prophecy, then like price goes up, your NAV goes through the roof, you issue more stuff, you buy more, you send price, right? So you have a huge incentive to like defend levels, and then you have a huge incentive to try to push price through.
So pushing
Resistance,
price
and then
through
to do nothing
resistance
in
would
the
be
middle.
probably all-time highs, 48,
4,800,
70 or whatever.
But I guess your point is that there's this middle ground where like they may not do anything. They just like wait until they
Just
reach a
defend.
a
Yeah,
floor
like,
they want to defend.
4K was a very obvious defend level, and then 5K is like the moon level, right? So in between that, 45, 46, nobody home, and we just sort of
That's why you shorted it.
kind of like panic dumped. But then they're bidding this level. So then there's this question of like, okay, when they get back to 5K, well, do you just sell 5K? You just sell that little thing and you go, or are you like, do you bet on them to like actually follow through and like
Tom Lee's
engineer
got
that
5
squeeze?
times more of these things.
Just
Yeah.
like just market buy like 10 billion straight through the level and just send this shit up. Like it's kind of a weird dynamic that hasn't existed in the market before. So it's definitely worth paying attention to. I don't
Okay.
know.
Dude,
That's-
on a percentage basis, like I'm thinking of how MSTR has like really supported Bitcoin's price, but like on a market cap
It's
weighted basis, like Ethereum's got to be like way more supported.
way easily to move the
Yeah,
price.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
these treasury companies can like
That's
manipulate
the best thing
price.
about ETH is that like it's got such a small market cap relative to Bitcoin. Like
Um,
again, like they've already acquired 1% of the supply. He just woke up like 3 weeks ago and decided he wanted to do this, right?
He's
So
like not even a crypto
this is a big
guy.
deal.
So I believe in this like flows thesis, but then you said the other part is liquidity, and there's been two things like kind of hovering in my mind, like just keeping me a little more alert over the next like call it like 5-6 months. Is two things. One, we have these typical 4-year cycles, and if you look at Bitcoin, like every cycle lasts like I forget the
I
number.
don't believe in 4-year cycles.
Yeah, I know, but it's like 1,100 days, which means we have like 100 more days left, if you believe in that. The other one is like global liquidity is rising, and Mr. Global Liquidity, Michael Howell, says that early 2026 is when he envisions like a kind of like a topping of global liquidity. So you have those two things kind of like matching up together. And I think a lot of like crypto investors are used to these 4-year cycles, and they're just like, okay, well, we only have, you know, a few more months left before this 4-year cycle, like in my mind, ends, and then we get into like the election or midterm year, which is historically not great, like a 2022. So I don't know. I don't necessarily believe in the 4-year cycles either, but they still exist. They're kind of memes that exist. So does anyone else worried about that? Because I'm using it to maybe wait. Like when do I exit a chunk? Not all of it, but
I
a
haven't
chunk.
even been around for that many 4-year cycles. I think I still believe in it just because the meme exists.
Should you just believe into it until it
The sample
invalidates?
size is like 2.
Yeah.
It's 3 for Bitcoin.
But like the 4-year cycle, it's very hard to say like, oh, last year was a 4-year cycle because like it was 4 years. Like you think that Jerome Powell just was looking at the Bitcoin chart and decided to just hike the fuck out of rates, or was that just kind
No,
of
dude,
random?
it was Fauci.
You know,
You didn't know? Fauci was like, oh, it's time.
it's just like very hard to.
We're gonna get this bull market going.
Even if like your sample size is like 3, it's like okay, man, like come on. I feel like basing your investment decisions around that is somewhat silly.
What about the liquidity part?
The liquidity part makes sense, and I think that all of investing theory is just wrong because it's been taught from like a perspective of a different time where there's like not rigged markets, and I have been wondering like what is actually the optimal portfolio investment strategy in a world where they just like they have to just keep pumping, and they have to just keep pumping. Like why the fuck would you just hold the index? Why wouldn't you just hold the triple levered index?
Dude, can you imagine them teaching this like at universities? Like
They're like, okay, so don't study the 10Ks.
yeah, you could get rid of the discounted cash flows.
Fuck that. Throw that out. Rip out half the book. Don't need this.
It's so
It's
dumb.
memes and liquidity.
I mean, even holding the indexes is dumb because there's just like 6 fucking companies that like do all the return. So if you look at this, you start thinking like, what is okay? Say you're 21 and you have $1 million and you want to put it in the stock market, just the stock
Good job,
market.
21-year-old, by the way.
Yeah, good job. But like, what do you do now? Like, do you just buy VTI? No. Fuck that shit. That's lame, right? You probably want to buy like the most volatile high return stuff that exists, right? You probably just want to buy like Nvidia equivalents, right? But then is the optimal strategy to just go 100% those? Probably not. Like, would it be bad if you put 1% triple levered in there? You'd be like, no, that's fine. Of course. Who cares about 1%? But
So
then
you're
is it 2?
what's the
is
right-
it 3?
yeah,
Is
what's
it
the
5?
right-
Is it 10? Is it 20? Like, what is the point where this like becomes like a bad strategy? Is it 100? Is the correct strategy just like 100% of your portfolio in the triple levered Nvidia ETF? I wonder these things.
Who was it in our Discord that brought this about onto your radar? It was Yanni, Shabani or whatever.
Was it? Yeah, I can't remember, honestly.
He said that like a 40-60 triple levered ETF and cash dramatically outperformed.
Or
Wait,
I think
what
it
was
like
the
30
combo?
I think he said he had a friend who was like 30% in market money funds, and the other 70% was in just like triple levered index, and then
dig it.
just sort of bought the dip from the money market fund.
I dig it.
And it dramatically outperformed.
Yeah, it outperformed like over the last since however many years you want to back.
I think if you're like 15 plus years away from retirement, definitely safe. If you're like 5 years away from retirement,
well, yeah, I'm not advocating for you to do this if
not.
you're 55, but like if you're like 20 or 21 or whatever, you have some cash, you're trying to escape the rat race. It's just like I would way rather tell somebody to just go like put all their money in triple levered Nvidia than like gamble on meme coins, right?
Obviously.
Obviously, that'd be a way better alternative. Is that definitely going to outperform for all time for the future? I don't know, but I feel like there's a high probability that it will. If you don't care about drawdowns, and you probably don't, if you're just going to buy meme coins,
Yeah, if you're buying meme coins, you don't care about
then
drawdowns.
maybe just maybe just do that. Like, why even buy meme coins? Why buy meme coins?
This has been my
when triple lever Nvidia
This has been my
exists?
stance from the moment we started this podcast. I was like, why are we ever talking about meme coins?
It is very silly because it's like triple lever Nvidia is basically just like a meme coin with
You get a meme coin
institutional
return.
flows and cash flows and real assets tied to it. So it's got a better return profile in every way. I
I like it.
think it's interesting.
What I also like is this new studio setup. You guys look great on the YouTube channel here.
Do we?
Yeah, I think you look good. Soft lighting.
I think I don't want to say we've solved video, but it looks better.
Looks better.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
good.
thanks for everyone joining the chat. Like the video if you haven't already. It helps to tickle the algorithms.
Is anybody giving any feedback in the chat about this? Or
Yeah. Anonymous analyst says, I know more than a few market makers in NYC that use TA on the VIX. Back to your thoughts.
It's amazing.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, dude, the VIX is mean reverting. It's like the most easy thing to trade. Volatility is mean reverting.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the next thing. It's somewhat money related because there's a 0% ROI on it. And Steven, I need you to pull this up. Oh, I already have it up on the screen. Can you enhance?
Would have to like
No, I've got it. Yeah.
this,
Okay, yeah. You.
like that.
Yeah, good enhance. Okay, so what we're looking at for everyone listening is a chart showing that young male college grads are now jobless at the same rate as non-graduates. So basically, the unemployment rate is the same whether you went to college or not if you're a male. So basically, in my mind, the ROI on college has officially reached 0% if you're you don't you can't find a job better than the guy who didn't go.
Dude, well, I feel like that's a bold claim to make.
All right, well,
based on
let me
this
explain
chart.
this chart, and then we can
Yeah.
talk about it. Okay, so there's men, and it shows the two lines converging, non-college and college grads. But then on women, non-college grads have a higher unemployment rate. So there's still like this divergence, and it looks like it's spreading. Like women college grads, their unemployment rate is going down, while the non-college grads for women are their unemployment rate's going up. So it's in a completely different
like
trajectory.
inversion.
Yeah, it's inversion. Where men is just like up only for unemployment, even if you have a college degree.
So what about non-college men? Is that I can't really
that's
see
the
it.
light blue line.
I can't really see it because
It's
there's
flat.
chairs in my face.
Yeah.
Yeah. We,
Oh, I
we
didn't
take
move
that
the
through.
chair. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, it's basically
Oh,
flat.
thanks. Yeah.
So let's talk about if we think this is necessarily true that college has reached a 0% ROI, and then maybe we could talk about why men is getting worse and why females are still fine.
I had a lot of issues with that title because it's obviously just like logically incorrect.
Right.
I don't
But
know
it's
if
a
you're
fun
just
title.
baiting me with it.
Yeah.
It's a fun
It
title.
worked.
It's just like I don't even know if I should
I mean,
respond to the
obviously,
bait.
one thing not included in the chart is how much you earn as a college graduate when you get out
Oh, you don't say.
versus. So yeah, the ROI could be different, but you could say that
Is that a component of ROI? How much you earn?
the money. But you could argue that the people who do graduate have student loans. So does it really does it cancel itself out?
I feel like the most interesting thing in this chart for me is the fact that college educated men employment is going up, college educated unemployment is going up, college educated women unemployment is going down, non-college educated women unemployment is going up, and non-college educated men employment is flat.
Right.
So there's an opposite tick here. Basically, the spread between college and non-college men, the spread in favor of unemployment is going up for the college people, and for women, the exact opposite
Right.
is happening.
So I kind of put this into like the different industries that men and women typically go into. So for women, the easiest way I could explain this is like the industries that have higher concentrations of females might be healthcare, hospitality, and services, and those are thriving. Right?
And
Like
are you typically college educated in those industries?
I
as a
think so.
woman?
I mean, healthcare in particular, I
Yeah.
think you are, and that is like a steady state employer.
Right.
You know, like when you're looking to invest in apartment complexes, you would love to see a massive like hospital conglomerate.
Yeah, and
you
I,
know,
and I think
nearby.
like likewise, the male equivalent would be like, are you a plumber, electrician? Like those are like not college required.
I was
but they're,
thinking
like, stable.
tech entry level.
Do you think you'd probably be college educated for that?
Yeah, and they're not looking great. Male tech entry males are more likely to be in tech entry level jobs is my guess, and their unemployment rate is going up.
Well, hold on. I think like if you're talking about tech, like working at Google.
No, just broader. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could file under tech these days, right? Like,
Yeah, because I feel like big tech, they hire men and women the same for like entry level jobs, and I don't know. I brought this up on our call. Like in my mind, women tend to be like a little more. What was that word we used in the last part? Conscientious in their like organizational skills and their sort of like ability to finish tasks. I don't know, whatever that conscientiousness word sort of
But
means.
I mean, like
Women make much better corporate slaves.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. So if you're going to hire a corporate slave, I'd want that to be a woman. Like if I'm going to hire a technical specialist, I might want that to be a man. But like just like a normal pawn, like probably give me a woman.
you guys both can be employers. You'd be sued immediately. You just violated all equal opportunity laws.
Yeah. Well,
Looking for a good corporate pawn.
Negative.
Men need not apply.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, like we're an e-commerce company. We're not a big company. We're a tiny company. But like we, you know, when we get applicants, no matter what the job position, it's like 99 to 1 in terms of like male to female applicants. Like we're not even looking for. We have to like look a little harder. Be like, it'd be nice to have like a few women like perspectives, especially if the product is women oriented.
Is that what you say?
Yeah, if it's women oriented product, it'd be nice. Don't try to set me up to like violate some law and get some fucking lawsuit. Yeah, write it down, Steven. But anyway, it's just naturally men oriented. So, and our entry level jobs are kind of like, well, we'll automate that. You know, like why? Or we still ship it out to like a lower compensation country. Like I don't remember the last entry level job we hired here in the office. It's like why would you do that?
So you've taken it was the CEO of Shopify who said like, you better prove to me that AI can't do this job.
I mean, a little bit of that, but like forget that one because it's still like I think minor. Maybe next year it'll scale up, but it's more about why wouldn't you just hire someone in the Philippines to do this job, or like Bangladesh or wherever that just can still do the job. They only do that specific task. They do it really well. They're, $4.50 an hour, and it's easy to monitor them and make sure they do their job. You don't have to babysit them. You don't have to motivate them. If they suck, you just fire them, fire a new one. You don't have to worry about California labor laws. I mean, there's like, I could go on.
Do you think sales is like equivalent men, female, like male, female are both equally
I don't know.
good at sales?
Oh, I think they're equally good, and you could find cases where men are better and where cases where women are better.
Because I feel like sales, I don't see AI disrupting that necessarily. Like in my business, I would want to hire a person, not an AI, to do sales.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, the sales jobs are still around.
So I really, I think men are.
But what do you think about the female hypothesis that like healthcare, hospitality, services,
Yeah, I think it's clear.
then they're fine, and maybe some of the last to like go in terms of like robotics and AI taking them, but the male jobs, entry level jobs in particular, because I think this is mostly entry level jobs if you're considering college graduates.
Right.
I think the main takeaway from this chart is that the last thing that's going to be replaced by AI is probably like beauty.
Yeah.
Wait,
Like
hold on.
the most.
Wait, are you implying
Wait, hold on,
that
hold on.
beauty is an aspect of females' job?
Damn, you went to first principles on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what is really the most scarce resource on Earth? Like, it's kind of like female beauty. I feel like.
Whoa.
I was talking about this with somebody over the weekend. It's like it's funny that, like, if you're like an attractive girl, like there are just jobs that are open to you. It's if you're younger too, right?
Yeah,
There's just
there's-
jobs that are open to you that do not exist for like a random five
Right.
dude. It's
Right.
just like doesn't exist.
You can be the face of this marketing campaign. You can like with no skills whatsoever.
And it's rational because
Yeah, it's so rare.
dude, somebody made like a really great tweet a while back where they talked about how on their Zoom calls they had started like paying for like a model to stand behind them on the Zoom call, and he's like posting like his like close.
Oh, I saw this.
His close rates were up like 60%.
I saw this and I was like, what the fuck? Like,
On his Zoom call?
no. So he would hire the model to sit on there and not say a word.
Just be there.
But
be
and
there,
not like
just
not
on
like
the call, just looking
not like
at the
overly
man.
dressed, but like business casual, and just sit there and say two words, hello, and goodbye, and that's it. And just the fact that she's there,
And that increased his close rate.
he shared the numbers, and who knows, he could be fugazi, but like you could see that why that would work. And he mentioned specifically his theory is like when they get to the okay, well here's the price, that men in power positions don't want to say it's too expensive in front of a hot female that's on the call.
That's
Totally relatable.
It's
real,
so relatable.
such a real phenomenon.
That's the biggest phenomenon that's ever existed.
we got to find this.
I've
'cause,
got
like,
so many
it's
bills
so
where I'm
good.
like,
Yeah. Oh man, so cheap.
I mean,
for
I'm
me.
like, is that it?
Yeah, cheap
you're
for me.
This is like thinking back to being in club days, and the cocktail waitress is like, those 2 bottles of alcohol are $6,000.
No, the
like,
last thing you want to do as a man is to like bitch about the price of something in front of like some attractive girl. Like you
Damn.
just can't. You just don't want to do that. Like it's just like this
Dude, this
huge
guy-
urge to.
This guy broke the game.
I think he might have.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. I was like, damn, too bad we're not in B2B sales because this would be in such an easy thing to like.
Yeah, you wish you could
employ.
apply that to your current business.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been telling all my friends who are in B2B sales about it.
What if you did this in ads? What if there's just a guy talking about your product, and just in the background of the ad, there's just some like hot girl just sitting there
Well,
looking
I
at
mean,
the
like
camera, not
to be
saying
honest,
anything.
like when all else fails and you're like, fuck, we've tried everything. It's like just put a hot young blonde girl in the ad and don't even just put your headline.
Don't
hot
change
blonde girl.
anything else.
Don't
Works
do anything.
surprisingly well, eh?
And
Yeah.
it works.
I mean, the cheat code though is that like it's like a real woman who like interacts with the like, hello,
Right.
and then once you've done that, you've like crossed the chasm. Now
Yeah.
you can't go back.
Yeah, because
right?
you can't be judged by just like a photo of a woman, but you can
Yeah.
be judged by a woman.
Yeah, especially when she's listening in on the call and
Yeah.
you're staring at her the whole time and she's taking notes
Yeah.
of everything you're saying.
I bet like if you could somehow figure out how to have like an interactive ad where there was like an AI woman, but like the person interacted with it and built like just even a marginal kind of like you would see like a huge spike in like click-through rates and conversion rates. I bet you like that is how deep the thing runs. That like even if you like knew it was like not really a real woman, it would still
still
trigger
work.
a boost somehow.
Yeah. So another
Think
case
through
for,
that in your company meeting.
Another case why women are more resilient to AI. I was also thinking education, teachers,
Yeah.
more women dominant, definitely
Dude, they're okay.
resilient to AI.
Maybe like in the short term, but like
Yeah.
education is going to get fucking disrupted.
But I think it's
so
like a
quickly.
short-term systemic thing where like
Okay.
women are actually going to be okay.
Okay, well, I want to talk about like the long-term ramifications as well, because, like, I have a daughter, but if I had a son, like, I wouldn't take this chart and be like, "Don't go to college." Like, I would still want my kid to go to college, because, for starters, there's stuff you're learning in there that's not just like about getting a job. You're actually learning.
That's funny that you think that, because like if I had a son right now, I would care literally 0% if they went to college.
'Cause, like,
We talked
0%.
about this before, and I think the argument was like, why don't I just have them start working on a business at 18, and I'll use the $300,000 I would have spent to go to University of Miami, and just be like, you have $300,000 to fail, and by the end of it, like it's all out, and hopefully you make it by then. If you don't, then you gotta figure something out. But like, rather give you your self-directed MBA.
Okay.
But we
Yeah.
also said there was things in college that you get that are not about getting a job, like social.
I'm also talking about myself here, which is not like prescriptive for the world. Like, I'm not resource constrained, so like
Right.
I want them to go to college. I would also have them start the business.
Yeah, do both.
Do both. I'm. It's just for me.
I still think even if I was infinitely unconstrained on resources, I like wouldn't care. I would just be like, do you want to do a job that like literally requires a degree? If so, then like, okay, cool. But otherwise,
It's not just that. Like, you learn stuff in school too.
I was trying to get like one of my nephews to be like, he's like, well, what do I do? Like, I'm out of college, I don't know what to do, and I was like, well, go to trade school, become an electrician. And he didn't want to do that, and I was like, how about we fund your business of like pool cleaning chemicals? It'll cost like $300, and you just got to go out and just like
I'll clean
beg
your
for
pool.
jobs.
Yeah.
And then like you'll suck for 2.5 years, but then maybe you'll like become better, and you might in 5 years have like a legitimate pool business that you can sell.
Okay. How do you respond to that?
Negative. I mean, just it's like, yeah, you want to do it? Okay, hit me up later to do it, and just phone still doesn't ring. It's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna
just
I'm
don't
gonna
want
provide the
it,
motivation
you
part of
know?
this equation.
Motivation is a.
Do you think you can impact the motivation part of the equation? One time I had a family member ask me about their child. They said, how can I,
Like the ambition part.
yeah, how do I actually impart?
Well, it's funny because like I was
Motivation.
thinking about this the other day. Like, forget like, hey, you should want to do better, or hey, look, you like flying in this business class seats. Well, the reason we're able to do that is because I worked my ass off for the last like 20 years. And when you reach the age of like 15, you're going back there unless you fucking figure out a way to pay for this. That's one way. But I also think there's another part to ambition, which is this like they need early confidence to feel like they can accomplish things. And then because they have confidence, they accomplish things. And then just this is self-fulfilling prophecy. Like when you take those standardized tests, like I hope if my kid ever has to take those, they never see the results. And I just tell them, you know, the test said you can be whatever you want to be as long
You're
as
a
you work hard.
genius. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if they studied hard for the test, if they studied hard, you'd be like, it says you're a genius, you could be anything. If they didn't study hard and they slacked up, like you fucked up. If you would have studied, you would have done better. But if they did like the leading indicator thing, you'd want them to build the confidence to be like, oh, I can actually be good at things when I apply myself, and hopefully that like that part of the equation, I think you can manifest, which is like the confidence part.
I know in my own life, something that was impactful was having high expectations. My parents held high expectations, and that was something that I always had to sort of strive for internally.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely part of my household was like, you're going to Harvard, so you better get nothing but straight A's. And, you know, they made me do Kumon outside of work, which I think, or outside of school, which I mentioned, which then made me test well. And then they were like, it says you could be anything you want. Like, it says you tested a grade higher. So if you want to move up, and then you don't realize how much that, you know, how much that helps as a younger student. And then if you are the top of the class, you just have this own standard for yourself. We're like, well, I'm always the top.
It's like a confidence internal where you just know you're like the smartest guy.
And then you get the competitive juices going. And when there is an actual person who's a lot smarter than you're like, well, fuck, how do I outsmart this person? How do I get better?
Totally.
Yeah. And maybe it carries into sports and like other random things that you do. So yeah, maybe that part's tweakable.
I don't know. Fun little side journey.
Yeah. So the last card in here is the alt-right phenomenon amongst young men. And I'm curious, before you get into the preamble, does this have what we talked about having to do with it, that like young males are jobless at like a higher rate than ever? Or is it completely unrelated to what you want to talk about?
No, I think it's related. I think there's always an economic component to this stuff. It's kind of an interesting question of like how much of it is economics, but
Yeah.
I think it cuts deeper than that.
So what's the phenomenon that you're seeing? Like maybe just describe it to us
I wanted
briefly.
to know the what, because I don't spend that much time with young people, but it seems to be a bunch of young...
And are you sure it's a phenomenon, or is it just like it feels like one because
like your Twitter sphere?
Yeah.
No, it is.
Okay.
And like I like to think I've been like very early to a lot of these things. You know, it's very early to the whole woke thing.
Yeah.
It's very early to the Trump thing. I feel like I have a good ear to the ground for this stuff. If you guys both had like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old son right now, there'd be like a very, very high chance that like he's like listening to, or like his friends are like very tapped into this kind of like, I even hate calling it like far right. Or
Yeah,
like
you
what.
called it.
It's
you called
like,
it alt right, but is it what, anti-Semitism? What actually?
yeah, is it a race
I feel
axis
like
or like an
alt-right
economic?
is actually a good term for it because it is right wing, but it's like alternative to the. It's very funny, like the layers this stuff goes. To
Yeah, I think
right.
that term was already used for like the Christian right wing or something. Racist people. Like
it's a.
You want to redefine it a little bit? Like, what do you think it is?
Not really. It's like it's an alternative to the mainstream right. That's kind of what it is.
So like Bush Cheney type of like vibe.
I think Bush Cheney shit is like dead. It's kind of funny right now because, like, if I were to, there's like a lot of like kind of lefty people I would talk to, and I'd be like, "What do you think of like Ben Shapiro?" And they'd be like, "Oh my God, he's so this and this and this." But on the right, like these kids, they think Ben Shapiro is fucking lame as fuck. Like they think he's like fucking normie, right?
What?
Like yeah. So like there's this like the pejorative term for like Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire. They have this like umbrella term called like conservative ink, which is this sort of like processed like it's kind of run by like it's its own version of like kind of the mainstream media. Like oh yeah, the Shapiro and Charlie Kirk, all these guys, they're all just like, and it's funny because like. If you're from a certain perspective, you think like the Ben Shapiros and the Charlie Kirks, you're like, oh, this is so different from like Fox News fucking boomer shit. This is the real. You're right.
I'm the boomer now.
Because
like,
and that's interesting because from like your perspective, where you are is like a mid-30s, like you see the boomer right stuff. You see like Sean Hannity, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Like I'm into this like Shapiro thing. This guy's cool. He's got like it's smart, talks fast, and all this shit, and then like he's got all these ideas. But then like there's a whole another generation of these people. not even looking at Hannity is just like
Doesn't exist.
doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Like, so they're looking at like Shapiro and the kind of like the circle of people in Shapiro, and they're like, fuck this shit. And they're going to, like, the big guy who's on the rise right now is, have you heard of Nick Fuentes?
Yes, that's what I was going to bring up. Is he now in their camp?
Nick Fuentes, yeah. So Nick Fuentes, if you don't know who Nick Fuentes is yet, is
I don't.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's in the next year or the next month or however fast it's going to go. This is going to, Nick Fuentes is like the new Ben Shapiro, and I think he's going to have like a meteoric rise in the same way that Ben Shapiro has. But I think with that, there's going to come like some interesting stuff, you know, because as you get farther and farther away from like processed food, like some of the ingredients get like
Holy
spicier
shit, he's
and
got some
spicier.
He's got some views. I'm just looking at like a compilation of his.
What are you looking on? Because he's like he was banned from YouTube. Like,
I
long
asked
time ago.
ChatGPT to give me like a quick overview of his like his worldview, and the first one that come up was ideological extremism. Fuentes has endorsed Holocaust denial, referred to for a holy war against Jewish people, and expressed admiration for authoritarian ideologies. So that was the first bullet point that came up. True or not true?
I would say it's mostly true. I think there's
True that he believes that.
Oh, here's another.
Or you
Here's
think
even a
that's like-
crazier part. He has self-identified as a proud incel and calls himself a Christian nationalist.
that's definitely true.
So he's
So he's
celibate.
speaking to this movement that we're sort of seeing.
Oh, that part's even more interesting.
Nick
Yeah.
Fuentes is now the spokesperson for the disaffected young man in the basement, like reacting to everything in the culture.
Okay, so this is where I think the Venn diagram overlaps very strongly with the economic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a component there, but there's a huge, like, just pure political, cultural component to it as well. And like it's interesting. Like, I've actually been listening to him a lot in the last couple of weeks because I get curious about stuff. I'm like, what is going on? And it's just like, it's very different from the. It's funny because you think of like Charlie Kirk, and you think of Ben Shapiro, and you think of Fuentes. You just think of it like a lot of people who are on the left are like, this is the right, but they couldn't be farther from each other in like particular ways, right? There's like just this very disaffected sort of worldview here, and like, so the main divide I think between like a Shapiro, Kirk, and Fuentes and like Tate. Right, I think Fuentes is kind of in like a similar category to like Andrew Tate, maybe, except Fuentes is sort of just like, whatever. I sit in my basement and order McDonald's and just play video games, and I don't give a fuck about women. I'm an incel. And then Tate is just like, no, you must fuck every woman alive, or you're an alpha male, right? Like that fucking nonsense. But they're both sort of reactionary against this other thing in like opposite ways. But the biggest divide is definitely like Israel. It's kind of it's a fascinating thing because Israel it's just chopped the right, like the young right especially is like splitting. I don't even know if it's split in half anymore because I think if you go like to a young demographic, like people on the right are like they lean like anti-Israel now, which is crazy from the right.
Right.
And on the left, it's like fucking 80-20 at this point, right? Like you go to young people on the left, yeah, it's just like so like Israel support in general has fallen off a cliff. It is like they're underwater on the right amongst the youth, and then amongst like the youth on the left, they're buried like 100 feet underground. So it's pretty gnarly. So that seems to be like the main dividing line.
Dude, there are some like I don't know what to call it yet, but like just very interesting components to their worldview. So when I considered an incel, I was like, man, someone who like loves women and is interested in women, but like just for whatever reason is not social, can't get women. But it seems like Fuentes and his like are openly misogynistic. They mock women's rights. They don't think they should have a place in politics or even maybe like the workplace. They're not for gender equality, generally speaking. So like it's almost like this.
So this is all true
distaste for women. Like
Like-
that's why they're incel. I thought they were incel because they didn't lack the skills to get laid.
or is it like chicken or the egg thing? Like, do they become disdain?
Resentment
Yeah.
because they are like, why don't they? Maybe, yeah. But I never, I thought they always wanted to get laid because that's like part of your genetic programming.
Yeah.
I think it would be inaccurate to say that they don't want to get laid. I think there's a open-eyed recognition of like the world of women before them, and then they just go like, okay. It's funny because like we've talked about like the trad wife movement a lot on this show, but like this is another interesting divide. Like the sort of like the Fuentes area of the internet doesn't like the trad wife movement.
What?
They're
I
like,
thought that was their ideal mate.
no, that's the ideal mate of the Shapiro, Charlie Kirk corner of the right.
What the hell?
Like the sort of Fuentes corner of the right. Like it's funny. I actually listened to like he's actually kind of funny, honestly. Like
I imagine he's extremely charismatic.
he's not saying wildly racist shit. Like a lot of the stuff is like pretty funny. Like he's obviously talented. He's built up like a huge following. He's obviously smart, but he's doing this like rant on like he was doing a rant on the trad wife movement. You know, he's just like, think I'm one of these fucking trad wives. I'm just in my basement playing video games, having a good time. Just gonna be like, what are you doing? Be a man, work out, dominate me. And he's just gonna be like, I just want to eat some McDonald's, you know? And I was like, that's funny. That's like kind of relatable actually, because that is kind of what the trad wife people are out there like, no, want the man, the dominant, me, go out and conquer. And he's just like, I don't want to conquer. I just want to play video games. Like I was like, he's like, I want some like I want some like obedient like Asian wife, except I don't because I want like a white wife because like I want my kids to look like me, and then it kind of gets into the kind of like the racist part. But the sentiment of that, it's different, and you're like, oh, like I thought, like I lumped all of this into this like label over here, and it's not like one label. There's like all these little things in this label, and there's like we're like getting older, right? So we're very disconnected now.
Okay, this is the generation that I'm gonna be like, this generation's. You know how older people are like that. This is the one where I'm gonna be like, they're fucked.
But it's like, okay, so like crazy shit's happening. Like, I don't know how deep you guys are. Like, I'm kind of deep in like the political kind of landscape.
How deep do you think I am?
Like, do you do you know the streamer like Destiny? Have you ever seen him? He's like this kind of left wing kind of debate guy. He's kind of weird. Like, I don't think he's that good at debating, but he's like a left debate hero. I think he's like bisexual because he like uploaded a video of him blowing a guy to the internet, but he also has a kid. And his kid is like a teenager now. I think he's like 17 or something. And his kid, like he made some tweet the other day, like where he was, I'm going to paraphrase it, but he's just like, they call us Nazis. Like, stop running from that term. I am a Nazi. And
his kid said that, or
his kid said that.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And his kid is like, yeah. So his kid is like the embodiment of this wing of like teenagers or whatever, Gen Alpha, young Gen Z, who are just like, they're not even like, it used to just be like, oh, we're like running from the racism, we're running for that. And now like there's a certain group of people, they're just like kind of so tired of it in a way. They're just like, yeah, no, I am actually a racist Nazi anti-Semite.
Okay, can I just like round out what these people believe in, and then I'm curious like why the fuck
how do we get here?
13-year-olds believe this?
Yeah, I'd be curious. Wait, this is ChatGPT?
Yeah, so
all right, let's see. Let me.
Christian nationalism is one. So he argues that the U.S. should be Christian theocracy governed by biblical law, and less democracy, and the secularism part is undermine America. It should be like a Christian country. White nationalism and racism. He promotes the idea that a fundamentally white nation that should preserve its European heritage, strongly anti-immigration, of course, numerous racist remarks. Anti-Semitism is probably the hallmark of his like racism. Authoritarian and anti-democracy, like strongman leaders, authoritarian systems, said the democracy experiment in America has failed, arguing that political participation should be restricted to Christian men, endorse violence at times. The misogyny and incel identity we talked about, homophobic and anti-LGBTQ, isolationist America first foreign policy, probably not a surprise based on the previous ones. And then millennial Gen Z far-right digital culture. He mixes ideology with ironic, meme-driven online culture, often using humor and coded language to normalize extremist idea. His followers, called groypers, infiltrate mainstream conservative spaces to push these hardline positions further into the right-wing discourse.
Was this like what 4chan was, essentially?
This is 4chan personified.
It's definitely 4chan-esque, for sure.
So like
For sure.
I've always known that like these views exist, but they were like always fringe. Like I rarely found myself actually come into the real world with someone who truly believes this stuff, you know? But now it seems like this guy, I imagine, has millions of followers, and they seem like they're teenagers who are impressionable. They also represent the next wave of, I mean, they're going to be voting in the next election.
He's literally stated that, like, he's like, look, I don't have political ambitions. My goal is to speak to millions of you, and that like a bunch of you like take in my ideas and you kind of bury them deep within you, and then like you come to power one day, and then a critical mass of you like at some point are old enough and run the country, and then like we can finally implement this. Like he's like outwardly stated that's like kind of like a main driving force.
So how old is he? He's like a young kid?
He's got to be like mid-20s maybe.
Let's see. He is...
Does he like
1998 was his birthday, so he's 27.
Does his like physical appearance embody what I would imagine as that incel basement dweller?
Yeah.
Weak basement dweller.
Yeah. He's kind of, he looks like he's funny. You see a guy who's like, looks like he's funny.
He's got the what is it called?
Physiognomy.
Physiognomy.
He's got a physiognomy of like a kind of like unruly, funny little twerp.
Yeah.
He looks like a little twerp, but like who might be funny?
Dude, you got to be like unruly looking to be funny, I feel like.
But I think what's more important than his like physiognomy is he's got this like high capability of like using semantics, using his words. I mean, you could tell like his rhetoric is at like a high level, because I've accidentally watched a few videos not knowing who he was, and now I'm like kind of piecing together. It was this little twerp.
And now you
Fuentes.
now you hate your wife.
You're not a bad person. You're not a bad person.
No, I just didn't put it together, and I'm like, now I'm
it
like,
was an accident.
I swear I didn't watch it.
My face.
Okay, so like I just don't. I'm trying to understand a world in which a 15-year-old is like minorities bad, because like or gay people bad.
Right, because like the 15-year-old isn't affected by the economy or anything. Like what drove this
But
person?
this makes complete fucking sense. Like you don't see how this makes sense. Imagine you are a young white teenager. Everything about your educational system since the day you were starting to grasp stuff has basically told you that you should observe your race and gender, and that society should treat you differently on the basis of that race and gender. You're in the bad gender, in the bad race, so actually you're basically like an oppressor, and all these other people, like, we're not directly calling you bad, sometimes we do, but we're definitely giving you the impression that this is the good gender, this is the bad gender, these are the good races, this is kind of the bad race, and oh, by the way, you're in the bad version of both of those, right? So you're basically teaching an entire generation of kids what is effectively a racist ideology. Something, by the way, that I have been saying for fucking years.
right.
Fucking years. Like, you're teaching racism.
Right.
You think you're
identity
you're fighting
politics.
racism. No, you were literally teaching racism, right?
Exactly what it was. Yeah.
And in doing so, you basically taught all of these kids to think that race and these things matter and to view that. And so it's fucking obvious that if you impress that upon them, they have two choices, right? They can, or I guess they have three choices. They can just like embrace that and be like, yes, yay, women and non-white people, and I'm just here to serve you and be an ally, which is like a very like feminist kind of messaging, right? Or you could be somebody who just like, whatever, I'm just gonna tune out and ignore it. But the reality is, like, most of these people, they can't tune it out. It's around them all the time. And so, like, especially as a man, it's a masculine quality to fight against that, right?
Yeah.
And what better way to fight against that than to just be like, okay, yeah, I see your ideology. I'm going to take all of the principles that you have outlined to me, and I'm going to run directly with them in the exact fucking opposite direction. I do think race is important. And you know what the best race is? White people. And I do think gender is important. And you know what the best gender is? Men. So you know what's great? White man. I am a white man. I'm awesome. Like, actually, and then on top of this, like, it's very easy for a Fuentes like character who's like very smart and well spoken to point out shit in the world. There is a litany of bullshit that's been shoved down people's throats. Like, and I identify this with like as like a I think kind of intelligent person who like went through life and like people told me shit over and over and over again. And I was just like, that doesn't logically make sense, but I was just supposed to nod and repeat it because it was the acceptable thing to do, right? So there's all these things that people can latch onto, right? So like during the Black Lives Matter thing, right? There's a whole bunch of shit that gaslit us with, right? So everybody with 3 brain cells to rub together can look objectively at like the FBI homicide rates and be like, oh, black men are like 30 times more likely to commit like violent crime than like these, right? And then if you noticed that, people were like, you're a fucking racist. And then a lot of people were like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to notice that. And they went there. Yeah. But like, there are a bunch of people who are just like, wait, no, don't fucking gaslight me. And instead of confronting the deep realities of like, wait, why does that exist? Like, what are the kind of other things? They're told like, no, that doesn't exist. And then so a guy then comes along and is like, actually, that does exist. And you're not a fucking moron for noticing that. These people are just all fucking frauds. And then they go like, oh, thank God. I thought I was a fucking crazy person. But now this guy is like just showing me like 2 + 2 = 4 from my perspective. And like now everybody else in the world is painted as this liar. And then this guy is like the fucking cult leader who's like showing you the truth. And it's so easy to do because you've just gaslit this entire generation while telling them all these principles that can just as easily be turned around. And now here we are. And this is like a fucking freight train that's coming at the country, and people like you and everybody else, like most of the people in our Discord, they probably don't even notice it. They're completely unaware of it because it's happening to this group that they don't interact with.
It's just like the equal and opposite reaction to the woke movement.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about a lot of times how, okay, the pendulum is swinging the other way, and we're kind of like at equilibrium now, but this is clearly where
the pendulum is going to go the opposite direction.
And, you know, Trump made Bush look moderate. And I remember when Bush was president, we were like, this guy is so far right. And now whoever's going to come from this generation is going to make, I mean, it makes Trump now even sound moderate because all the things that people...
Fuentes doesn't like Trump.
Right. I could see that. Like, I could see that. But like all the things that we project onto Trump, like, okay, he wants to stop immigration. Okay, you're a racist. You don't like Mexicans. And that's not actually true. He just doesn't want, illegal immigration. But these guys are the even further part. They're like, okay, not only do we want immigration, but
dude,
like,
how far does the pendulum swing? It doesn't end with Fuentes either. It goes further, probably.
Well, you never know. Like the next generation who gets gaslit one way could take the same fundamentals. I don't know.
Dude, that was an epic rant, Steven.
Yeah, that was good. And I felt kind of seen, to be honest, like, because I remember there was this one stat in the FBI database. It was like when they were talking about how police is racist, but you look it up, it's like there's more non-white police officers that end up doing the killing of non-white criminals. And you're like, well, it's not white cops. I mean, yes, you saw 3 video cams of white people doing this, but it's actually like Latino and black cops who are killing these like non-white people. So anyway, I felt a little scene there where I was like, yeah, and even, as an employer, when your employees bring this stuff up, you can't engage. You don't engage. Like the rule is you just don't engage. Like when someone says, hey, we should donate to Black Lives Matter. Why don't you want to donate to it? And you're just like,
come back with a non sequitur.
Fine. It's just like we'll donate, even though you're like, I don't know if this is right. I could probably produce some facts, but it'll just blow up in my face. I'll have people quit. I'll have people, like as an employer, just like I don't even know how to handle this shit.
You need to have a corporate policy. We don't do philanthropy.
Yeah, we just don't
exist to do business.
And I even got like bullied. I felt bullied into like, yeah, go ahead and do a social media post because everyone else is doing it, and I didn't want to tell like the young females, liberals who were like, we need to post about black, white. I didn't want to say like, it doesn't matter. And you just didn't want to put your head out because like you didn't know when you're going to get chopped off.
Yeah. I mean, we live now in like an incredibly feminized culture. Like everything you just described is like very feminine and sort of like it's nature. But then also just objectively, like if you just look at how women are doing and how men are doing, right? It's incredibly feminized. Like when women, I think, they're going to college more, they're graduating college more, they're getting more jobs out of college more, they're making more money on average as a college degree, even though at the fat tails, I think men are still earning more, but like on average, like women are doing better, like all these metrics, right? And so it's a fucking powder keg. And this shit is like, it's kind of like what black people did with like the N-word, where they're like, nah, we'll just take the word. They're just like racist, anti-Semitic, Nazi, and they're just like, yeah, we'll just take that. Yeah, that's where if you're just like, you're a fucking racist, and they're like, yes, I am. What do you do? Like,
Yeah.
what do you do? Like, you've stripped the word, you've stripped all these words of any of like the societal shame elements, and there's now a critical mass of people that are just like, okay, yeah, they agree with that. So like all the fucking power of that social shaming is gone because it's just been abused to death and it doesn't even exist anymore.
Okay, so I think you've done a great job of enlightening, for sure, me on this like movement that's occurring. I know if I ask you how prevalent it is, you'd say it's very prevalent. But I guess like I just don't want to meet these kind of people. If I'm being honest, I want everyone to just be like more moderate. I want everyone to be cool. Like how realistic is it for me? Do you think that in my life I'm gonna meet like some teenagers and they're just gonna be pretty cool, versus like they're gonna be fucking weird incels that Heil Hitler and do a bunch of weird shit? Like,
I mean, there's a lot of people out there. There's a ton of people who are just chill or moderate or like agnostic. I'm just trying to say that like there's a large group of people in the country, especially at the young level, who like very much buy into this stuff. And I get why they buy into it, honestly, because although I don't buy into it, like I see like the overlap with
Yeah.
stuff that I believe.
I mean,
like,
for all the reasons you mentioned, yeah.
it's not. He's like he's not making shit up completely. He's tapping into real things and then in a lot of instances like twisting them in ways, right?
No, I agree, but I also didn't like. I wouldn't want to deal with the fucking wokest of the woke either. I just want to deal with people that are fucking.
All right, so he's
cool.
got 430,000 X followers, and he's got 114,000 Rumble subscribers, which is like the YouTube that won't ban you. And he's been deplatformed on YouTube, Twitch, Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, Patreon.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Are you sure it has 114,000 on Rumble? That seems low. Is that like a fan?
It could be out of
It's
date.
like a tribute account or
Yeah, it
something?
could be out of
That's-
date.
There's no way it's that low.
And also, I imagine he has massive Telegram groups that are probably larger than any of those.
I just didn't know that he'd been deplatformed and all those things. Like that.
Well, you can
that's-
see why. Like, I mean,
well,
I don't think
sure,
it's like...
but it's also one of those things that I think Armand would put his hands up for. Be like, what the fuck are we doing?
It's a good example of why deplatforming isn't good, because you basically kick this person off like the entire internet. Like none of you even know he exists, basically.
Right.
And in the background, he's just had free reign to just say whatever he wants, build up a following. There's no sunlight at all being shown on any of it to disinfect anything.
Right.
And you've created like in the background this giant fucking thing growing.
Well,
now.
you validate the revolution, which is what it probably feels like to them, and they feel validated when they're like come up against opposition.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah, and like the problem is like it's like not all of his ideas are cartoonishly bad. Like a lot of them are actually good. Like he was like his idea, like his Israel shit is consensus now, right? He was a fringe Israel guy years ago. And now you would argue that he's consensus. Like everything he said has been consensus, and it's given like all this cachet to all the other stuff he says, because it's like, well, he was like kind of with the movement on this. What else is he right about? Like what else is he early to?
chat says, or Marty in the chat says, following this, great summary, Sensei. He will be on Joe Rogan soon. Watch 5D chess.
I agree.
I told my normie friends to tell me when they hear his name from someone else but me, like as a litmus test for like, it's grown. So I'm curious what the age range of this group is, because like they're probably going to vote, maybe not this midterms, but you know, next election cycle, and they probably don't have anyone who necessarily represents them in college. I just wonder, or not in college, sorry, Congress, or any politics, local or otherwise. But I imagine because of like the machinery of politics in which you have to raise large sums of money, and because they have so many views that would upset different groups, I wonder if it'll ever gain the momentum needed to get the capital, get the buy-in you need from all these like groups on your way to becoming a successful politician.
Are we even like just giving more credit to this age cohort than they deserve? Because I think like when I was a 13 to 17-year-old, like A, had no power, B, didn't care, the people that did care had no power. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, does it just
It
not
absolutely
matter?
matters
I think it
because
matters more
everybody
now.
said exactly what you were saying like 10 years ago with like the woke kids. They're like, oh, they're just in college. It's just a phase. They're dumb kids in college. And then it turns out they graduated college, brought all the same ideas with them into the real world, and then started controlling all of the levers of power for a long time.
Media, politics.
Yeah, and they are still like largely in control of like all of those institutions. So I would not.
I also
I
think
would
there's like
not
this
hand-wave it
pathway
off.
to media stardom that didn't exist when
Yeah.
we were 13 to 17.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there is this clear path where like you can accelerate
Yeah,
your
dude,
generation's
these guys
impact.
could like literally become politicians right after like
yeah, I mean, if he
becoming,
gains
like,
enough followers, like you could
Asian
argue.
majority.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild.
I think my reaction is like mostly scared. Like I don't want like racists who at times suggest violence. I also don't want religion to be mixed with like the government. There's some things in here that like I get why his worldviews come to like
in
that
fairness,
makes sense.
like I don't know how much advocating for violence I've heard.
Okay.
To be honest, so I don't know about that. He's definitely fascist.
Yeah.
Like he definitely advocates for the government like taking like it would be kind of in line if he I think if he didn't distrust Trump, he would be generally in line with the government taking control of the cities and just like getting rid of all the homeless people, the drug people, all the shit.
We
Like,
gotta talk
there's-
about this when
yeah.
when there's crime data that shows up in DC in the next like month. Whenever it comes out, we gotta.
There's already stuff that's come out, right?
I think it's too early.
Too early?
Too early. Like I saw some stuff too, and I was like, "Did you really measure the week over week crime rate? Is that
Probably,
really?"
it's probably fair.
You need a split test to last
Probably
a little
fair.
longer. Yeah.
Probably fair. But like, you understand where that sentiment comes from, right? Because for like years, there's just been this like I feel this as a citizen. Like, why do I, as a citizen, have to wake up and walk through the streets of my fucking city and see this fucking bullshit? Like, why do I have to see that? Why do we have to accept this? So, of course, people at some point, if one side is just like, no, man, you could tolerate that. Of course, there's somebody on the other end being like, fuck this.
Yeah.
No, yeah, let's put a fucking strong guy in to just clean it all up. Like, people, this is literally how.
I mean,
literally
I
how,
get-
like,
I get the why.
fascistic dictators get their rise. They get their rise solving legitimate problems that have festered and that people are like legitimately mad about, right? Like they actually don't invent a lot of the problems out of thin air. It's like popular to be like, oh, they demonize these groups, but actually more often than not, the stuff they're talking about is rooted in like actual problems that are happening that people actually feel. They're not like fucking imagining it.
Yeah, I
And
get
it's
why
easy
all
for
this
them to
happening.
turn to
I
them.
just really don't like the outcome, and I fear that like you know a moderate take is just not gonna like outbeat these Nick Fuentes' arguments. Like
I just hope it does.
I hope it does, but like when it comes to like homelessness, like we talked I don't know a couple of years ago about homelessness on the podcast, and like I was like, they shouldn't be allowed to sleep on the streets. And like Reagan's biggest downfall was like he got rid of all the mental institutions, and so now we just have homelessness who have schizophrenia and drug addictions who are on the streets. And he's like, strong man. His reaction might be a strong man approach, and it's like, well, there's a moderate approach, which is like,
But homelessness, like,
bring back the
homelessness is a good example of something that I actually don't think is a moderate. I actually don't think you can solve homelessness with like a moderate approach.
Well, what if the moderate approach is bring back the mental institutions, but then also enforce, it's illegal to be on the streets. You can't live on the street.
Yeah, like I don't think that's moderate because you're like, this is like the ICE shit, right? Like eventually you let a problem fester so badly that like you actually can't solve it with anything other than like a fascistic use of force, right? If there are so many, like there's a point where there's so many immigrants in the country. I'm not saying we're there, but like you could theorize a point where there's just such a bad immigrant problem, an illegal immigrant problem, that like there actually is no way to solve that, like through fucking law or shit. Like you actually do need to solve that at a particular point
With force.
by literally rounding up people in the streets and getting rid of them.
Right.
And there is a problem. There's a point where the homelessness crisis is so bad that you actually can't fix it without literally going into the streets and rounding up people and removing them. And
Yeah,
maybe you put them in a different city.
I just don't
maybe
want
you put them in
I
these
don't want the federal
facilities.
government to do it. I don't mind if local governments do that. Like,
But the federal government is like going to end up doing that at
I
a
know,
particular
I
point
know, and-
because like I think people are just going to get fed up and they're gonna welcome the fascistic federal government to come in and just roll in with fucking tanks and take everybody off the streets.
I
You know?
mean, do you guys ever think like founding fathers, like what they would like? I often think about like when we pass laws and we see like presidential federal power or that these branches of government exist. You're really like, man, the founding fathers would be like, new revolution. Like we're get your fucking muskets. We have to overthrow the thing that we were originally fighting for, and you just rebuilt the whole fucking thing up. And yeah, I worry about the federal overreach part of it. Like, I probably would like the result in DC. And I saw some people in Chicago being like, "Come to Chicago, do
Yeah,
the same
come
shit."
here next.
Yeah, but like you don't actually want that. You
You're right.
want the outcome, but you don't want the
Right.
way in which it's going to happen.
Agree.
Anyway,
I mean, I would want that. Like, if I were those people and those areas, like, I would literally want that. You're gonna talk to me some nuance about like, oh, don't you understand the long-term ramifications of what you're doing? They'd be like, I'm just tired of like my buddy got shot, my car's been broken into. Like, I don't fucking care about your life. There's a point where people just don't fucking care anymore. They're just like, nah, send the strong guy in with like the fucking people with the masks and just clean it up.
yeah.
And like you have to not get to this point, right? Which is why I was a bit fucking dumb for years to like tolerate all this other bullshit. It's why the Giuliani like broken windows, stop and frisk kind of policy is actually, I think, good policy. Because without that, you eventually just let this fester, and then you get to a point where you do need like actual fascism to like fucking clean the shit up because it's just so far gone that like you can't fix it. And that's a bad place to be in. It's a very bad place
So
to
is
be in.
Giuliani not the Freakonomics abortion argument that decreased crime?
Don't get him started. I gotta pee. Don't. Let's not do this.
I just wanted to really poke you there at the end. All right, this is a good pod. I'm curious what everyone thinks. Like, obviously, I hope there's some strong opinions about it. Put them in the comments on YouTube. Hop in the Discord, alfalfapod.com. If you're hanging with us now, you're watching now, like the video if you haven't already. We appreciate it if you do. And yeah, we'll be back next week. I think when Armand's back next week, we should get him to. I want a reaction.
I would like to hear him weigh in. I like to think that we can be the type of people to fill this void because, like, I get why these kids like don't like fucking Mitt Romney and Ben Shapiro. Like,
Totally.
I get that. I get why they go to like Andrew Tate, but like, I think you can be in some middle ground where you're like, yes, I see that thing, and I'm not going to gaslight you. That shit is fucked up. Yes, and these people are actually lying to you, and all that stuff is fucked. Also, you don't have to hate all of the Jews.
Yeah.
And like there's like kind of like a middle ground, I think to that.
I think so
But
too. It's just like you're not poking at every insecurity and fear that they've built up in their like prime years and using them to like manipulate them. You know, you're not able to use all the same tools that maybe Mr. Fuentes has.
nuance isn't particularly
All right.
high engagement.
If you listen to this and you hear a normie or a friend outside the pod mention Nick Fuentes' name, drop it in the Discord so we know when we're on the brink and we can say Steven was right. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week, Wednesday at 5 p.m. PST. We love you lots. See ya.
Later.
Bye.